you that Marvel's Comic-Con panel was going to be fire, but it ended up being a nuclear explosion. It's like the Oppenheimer poster. That was basically the Marvel Comic-Con panel this year. And I can't help but think that one of the reasons it was supersized was because of the trademark leaks, for all the upcoming Marvel projects. I suspect some of this might have been saved for D23, but, they couldn't wait that long considering that the cat was out of the bag. So now it's official, but it made for one banger of a panel. Oh my God. All right, so the way I'm going to cover the panel is that the trailer, I've already done the trailer reactions for She-Hulk and Black Panther. Now I'm doing a Phase 5 video. That's what you're watching right now. I'm going to do a separate Phase 6 video, and then I'm going to break down the Black Panther trailer, and I'm not sure when I'm going to break down the She-Hulk trailer. It will be sometime this week, but I might need a little bit of a break after that. And then also Movie Math, of course, will go up on Monday. So lots to do. Oh, it's so exciting. Oh, it's so great. All right, so yes, Kevin Feige has heard you. He's not going to acknowledge it, but he's clearly heard you, because Phase 4 is over, suddenly and unceremoniously. And it ended just, I think the ending is very, very apropos for the phase, because, we're like, oh, it's over? Just like when we were watching it, we were like, what's happening? Like, it's just like, and I do agree that I think COVID probably was a bit of a factor there. So today at Comic-Con, he had 1 hour. Well, he cheated. He had like an hour and a half. He went over. I think Kevin Smith was following him. I'm sure Kevin Smith, although who'd want to follow this, right? It's such a high. And he did not waste it. He did not waste it. All right, so I'm going to talk about MCU Phase 5 right here. Again, Phase 6 will be a separate video. Not only because there's so much to cover, but also there's just so much metadata. Because this Phase 5 video is it's covering 12 projects. It's an even split, 6 movies, 6 Disney Plus, but 8 projects for 2023, not even including the animation projects, some of which were announced. Two I think were announced. Yeah, it was even split over there as well. So that's 10 projects. That's nuts. For 2023. I'll watch them all though. I'll cover them all. We're gonna have a great time. But I feel bad for the casuals, right? Who are like, how much stuff do I gotta watch? I'm curious, if you're a casual, that's cool. This is a safe space. You can be a casual. If you're a casual, which projects do you think that you'll definitely be watching? They're not even all represented up here. For some reason, he left Black Panther and Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel off the charts. It's too much even for Kevin Feige to keep track of. So I think that's really interesting. And I'm gonna put some tea in here as well as usual. All right. So he kicked off. They showed, in addition to the 2 trailers that they dropped, they had some footage which was exclusive to Comic-Con, right? So they had some Quantumania footage, and they confirmed MODOK. They confirmed Bill Murray. The leaks are real. Stay off Reddit if you don't want to have the entire movie spoiled for you. And they also had released earlier in the day this Comic-Con poster. I do love a Comic-Con poster. That used to be a big thing. They'd hand them out at the booth, right? The Marvel booth. Why DC even got rid of Warner Brothers, and DC don't even have booths. That's how bad it is this year. All right, so anyway, this great poster from Andy Park, one of the concept artists over there. And I love it. You got Kang looking super Kang in the background. Clearly, the next Thanos is Kang. And we'll talk about that more in the Phase 6 video when things really come to a head. But here, I think he'll probably show up in Loki Season 2, I would assume. But also, of course, I hear he's not like the big bad in Quantumania, but he's going to be in the background like that poster. He looks great, though. He looks very comics accurate. But Jonathan, the great thing about playing Kang is that Jonathan Majors gets to play all these different versions of him. So, he gets to sport, I'm sure, a bunch of different looks, which will be, I think, a lot of fun for him. And us. They're really playing up the family angle, because who's that in the purple? That's Cassie Lang, who's been recast as Catherine Newton, who was at Comic-Con. And I don't know how I feel about them playing up the family angle so much. That's never really been what Ant-Man has been about. And I feel like it kind of detracts from Fantastic Four. However, I cannot confirm this. This is just my theory. But based on how I know this movie ends, I suspect that you might have an end credit scene here introducing the Fantastic Four. So don't be surprised if we get some Fantastic Four news at D23, director and or well, it's certainly a director, I would assume, and maybe even some cast members, because, they got to shoot this Quantumania end credit scene, I would assume. Again, that is my theory based on how I know the movie ends, all right? All right, so that's Quantumania. Then Secret Invasion. I'm so excited about Secret Invasion. Colby Smulders they showed some footage as well, and Colby Smulders, aka Maria Hill, was there, and she said, "You don't know who's a Skrull." And as I've told you, that's one of my favorite games, right up there with who should win and who will win. I love Who's a Skrull. I'll never forget playing it in the original Marvel comic book story. It was a hoot. Love it. Can't wait for that. And as I told you also, as I recently tweeted, a lot of the, Phase 4 was very comedic, very jokey. And we, again, we were like, we don't know how we feel. This might be a bit too jokey, Kevin. And I think you can see him pulling back on that. Quantumania is super silly. Quantumania, the Marvels, those are very silly projects. Guardians of the Galaxy, those are all silly. Silly, silly, silly. So silly. But I think everything else on here will probably be pretty serious. And Black Panther 2 looks super serious, which I love. Oh, the gravitas, baby. As someone who naturally gravitates towards DC, I'll take gravitas wherever I can get it. All right, so Secret Invasion. Then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was teased. That's, of course, their big summer movie next year. Showed some footage as well. They teased some deaths. James Gunn's peace out after this in the holiday special. He's heading over to DC on HBO Max. And he's killing a couple of Guardians on his way out. Now, I've heard, and I believe this is out there, I couldn't see if anybody else had reported this, but I heard from my sources that they filmed different deaths. So that they can't leak who dies because they filmed multiple people dying to make sure, so it will be a surprise as to who actually dies. I think that's quite clever. And I think it's even fun for the actors to be like, whose death scene are they going to use, right? That's a situation where maybe you don't want to do your best work because they might be like, we have to use this death scene. It's too good. I'd be like, let's just fudge the lines a little bit, maybe not go give it to 100. I wouldn't worry about Rocket, though. I think there's a chance he might be leading the team after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We'll see. The High Evolutionary showed up in costume. I don't think it had quite the bang that it should have. I think he looked a little bit like, similar to the Kang costume, to be honest with you. Are they kind of like the same, from the same space group, right? Space entities. But also, we haven't met the character yet, so I don't think it really hit home the way maybe it was intended. Also, Maria Bakalova was confirmed to be voicing Cosmo the Space Dog, and I can tell you that Cosmo the Space Dog basically adds a female character to the Rocket and Groot scenes, so expect that kind of dynamic. And Will Poulter was there, who's Adam Warlock, and who, as I recently tweeted, is going to have some mommy issues. He's basically going to be like a big baby. He's just born. So as I said, very comedic, very silly. Then, they finished, the other projects we've heard about before. Echo, currently filming. Loki Season 2, currently filming. The Marvels, which is pretty much wrapped. I spilled a bunch of tea about that the other day on Twitter. As I said, very silly. A lot of Monica, which I'm very happy about. I'm very excited. And Kamala's family, I hear, maybe, wink, wink, maybe be there. Blade basically gets like a Halloween date just a few days after Halloween. So, that seems weird to me. Hollywood is convinced that you don't want to go to the movies Halloween weekend. And maybe that's true to some degree because the first weekend of November is a hot weekend. It's become very popular. That's basically when Black Panther 2 is releasing. But I still think it would have been cool if Blade were a Halloween movie. All right, then anyway, Ironheart, who is featured, who's getting her origin story in Black Panther 2, we'll talk about that in the trailer breakdown, she finishes out the year. Although maybe it might be Agatha, who is set for winter 2023-2024. They're not quite sure. All right, so now we get into some of the new projects. They kind of we'd heard rumblings of these, but now they're official. All right, so Agatha, and we get a title for her show, Coven of Chaos. Chaos magic? That's obviously Wanda! Wow, so of course, as many of us theorized, the Darkhold was destroyed at the end of Multiverse of Madness, so perhaps that freed Agatha, right? I don't see how you could have a Coven of Chaos without Wanda being in that coven, which would be really cool. That would be great. That would be so cool. But at the same time, I feel that Wanda has personally graduated to movies after having such a strong assist to Doctor Strange 2. I'd feel a little weird about her going back to, being like, okay, that was fun being the villain in some guy's movie, but I don't get my own movie. I'd be like, what? But let's see what D23 has. There's a lot of space in Phase 6, as you'll see in that video. So maybe Wanda still is getting an additional project. Daredevil's all over the place here. He's showing up in everything. So I don't see why Wanda can't do the same thing. Speaking of Daredevil, there's his series Born Again, which of course is, by the way, 18 episodes. Whew. That's a lot of breakdown. I hope they're maybe 15 minutes long. No. That's so silly. That's like Andor, which is like, very long as well. We said we didn't want, I don't know. I mean, again, Kevin has heard us. We didn't like 6 episodes, but I feel like 18 might be a bit too much in the other direction, but I'm excited. Charlie Cox is like, making up for lost time, baby. All right, so this is based on a very famous story. Although, I have to say that the Netflix show dipped into a lot of the Daredevil library already. So let's see what's left over for Kevin Feige. This is also an incredibly adult and dark story, of course, written by Frank Miller. It involves like prostitution and Karen being involved in making like pornos. So it's funny because, they really made Kevin Feige really made Kingpin silly. Kingpin's also a big part of this story. Made Kingpin very silly in Hawkeye. So it's like, which direction are you going in, man? Maybe again, he heard us. But I mean, even with the new parental controls on Disney Plus, it can't be as dark as the comic book was. But I'll be curious to see how far they go. It's not only very adult in terms of mature themes, but there's a lot of Catholicism. Daredevil, Matt Murdock, very religious character. It's a very important aspect to the character, and Catholicism is a big theme in Frank Miller's story. So I'd be interested to see if they play that up as well. That could be really cool. That'd be very sophisticated, and I would love to see that. Then Captain America, New World Order. Great title. Great title. Anthony Mackie, every time I see Sam Wilson's Captain America represented at the parks right now, because, they're not using him in the media, that's so cool. I'm very excited. And to his credit, Chris Evans, every time the media tries to say that he's still Captain America, Chris Evans is in there saying, like, don't you dare, Sam Wilson is Captain America. And everyone's like, this is why we love Chris Evans. So I think it's going to be obviously a very political movie, and I'm here for it because I thought the political commentary in the series, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, was fantastic. Really, really well done. So I'm excited to see them do that on a bigger stage. Then Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is official. Oh, yeah. And as we've been saying, this is a July 6th, 2024. Big summer movie, should have lots of action scenes. They're putting some really inexperienced directors on these movies. Again, Kevin Feige's like, okay, you don't want these big name artistic zany directors. It's not working out. Okay, I'm going to go back. I mean, I hope they're Russo brothers, but they could also be Peyton Reeds. That's right. Every opportunity I can get. I'm sorry. But hey, you know how Peyton Reed can get me to stop doing that? Make a good movie. All right. So anyway, and to be fair, his Mandalorian, season 2 episode was not bad. All right. So anyway, but boy, was the last Ant-Man and the Wasp movie lame. Okay, I hope that's not what's going on with Quantumania. All right, so anyway, Thunderbolts. Oh, so exciting. This is basically Marvel's Suicide Squad because Kevin Feige never saw somebody else's toy that he didn't want for himself. Remember, he admitted, the Russo brothers admitted, well, Kevin Feige would never admit this, but the Russo brothers outed him and said that as soon as he saw the announcement of Batman versus Superman, he was like, okay, let's do Civil War. Kevin Feige. So he's like, oh yeah, Suicide Squad. Not only is it popular, but I see it's struggling over there. Let me show you how it's done. And it's going to be great. Val's going to bring the team together. I'm sure Zemo's going to lead it. I think there's also a very strong chance that Hawkeye could lead it. He's been talking about redemption left and right. Now he's got to make up for his sins on his show. Here's your chance, baby. And he's, of course, in the new comic that is coming up. So I'm excited. All right, so that's Phase 5. I got to tell you, they get us every time. We're like, I don't know, maybe Marvel's Ooh, what are you going to do? It's a lot of shock and awe, baby. And, if you don't like what's currently out, the way they're operating, something new's right around the corner. So it's great. And I'm glad that they seem to have some more levels. They have I think there's going to be something for everybody. But for the reason Marvel works is that everybody watches everything. So, but again, if you're a casual, you can't watch all of this, or can you? Challenge. The gauntlet has been thrown down. All right, so that's Marvel Phase 5, MCU Phase 5. Stay tuned, link down below as soon as it's ready for my Phase 6 video. And of course, you can check out all my trailer coverage and everything else. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss these videos when they go up. But you can check out all their other coverage right now.